Cancer, so it's me Alexis. Welcome back to my astrology channel, and today I'm going to be talking about your horoscope and tarot reading for the full moon in Pisces on 13/14th. The reason why I say 13th and 14th is because it's kind of in the middle. So yeah. So before I go ahead and kind of start the reading, if you are a Cancer Sun or Rising, this video will apply to you. And I do offer more personal new and full moon readings on my Twitter. So if you guys are really feeling this video and you kind of want something more personal, I do have a Twitter link below on my Twitter so that you guys can kind of schedule a reading with me. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the video. So I need to talk about the general astrology before I kind of talk about how it personally affects you, Cancer. So this full moon to me is going to be a lot more tense just because there's going to be a T-square. The Sun and Mars are going to be conjunct in Virgo. I'm talking about transiting planets, by the way. And then the transiting Neptune and Moon will be conjunct. They'll be opposing each other. This is kind of how we kind of marked our full moon. And then the transiting Jupiter in Sagittarius is going to be squared the transiting Sun and Mars, and the transiting Neptune and Moon, thus creating that T-square. And when I kind of look at this, I kind of think, okay, looking at this T-square, what is this issue really about? And when I think of Virgo, when I think of Pisces, I think of clarity versus ambiguity. And then with Sagittarius and Jupiter, I think of opportunities. So a lot of what this full moon seems to be about is how to know where to kind of mitigate your focus and clarity on, and where to keep things ambiguous and to keep things a little bit mysterious. And I think with this full moon in Pisces, I think a lot of this full moon is about you realizing that there are some parts of your life that are going to be really ambiguous and really hard to figure out, and because of that you shouldn't try so hard to make it clear, because sometimes your attempts to make things clear and practical could just be hiding your fear of not having control. And because of that, another thing that I do want to think about is, Jupiter's already in this mix, being squared to this full moon event. And I would say that with Jupiter here, depending on how you kind of view clarity and ambiguity, it kind of shows, when and how some opportunities and truths will come into your life. And with the full moon in Pisces in particular, I think that with ambiguity, in your life, whatever this where the ambiguity is going to be in your life, I think it kind of shows, what kind of truths are going to come out of that. And, sometimes you would think that, getting all the facts straight will get you the truth. But sometimes, when things are confusing, people, situations, and things do come out in their true colors. And because of that, the truth can also come out through ambiguous situations. So yeah, that's pretty much what's generally going on, Cancer. Let me go and kind of tell you how everything will kind of personally affect you. So the full moon is going to be happening in your 9th house, and then Jupiter will be transiting through your 6th house. So when I think of the 9th house, I think of philosophy, I think of your worldly view. Things like, religion and philosophy and spirituality are in the 9th house. If you guys are in college, that's also the 9th house, because it's kind of ruling over higher education. So with this full moon going on in your 9th house, all the Virgo planets are kind of stuck in your 3rd house right now. I think as of now, with your, with the 3rd house, you've been trying to make things really clear in terms of your mind, how you communicate, and things in close proximity, I guess. So this could be things mitigating issues with your neighbors, or your siblings, or the things that you think to yourself, your mindset, I guess. And now with this full moon in Pisces, this full moon in Pisces kind of blurs your view on how you kind of view the world in a way that's a little far off. So let's just say, for example, that you've been handling a lot of things that are closer to home. Now with the 9th house, being illuminated during this full moon, the full moon is kind of asking you, okay, you've been dealing with things close to home, but how about things that are farther away from home? How about things that are, a little bit farther away? Have you thought about the future? Have you thought, a little bit, beyond just this little small circle that you've been trying to gain clarity on? And, this full moon could also point out to you that maybe your certain beliefs or your worldly perspective or your interactions with the world have been a little bit more ambiguous and a little bit more confusing. And because of that, you have to confront that and be like, oh yeah, it hasn't really been as clear as of late. And because of that, you're kind of like, okay, like, should I like stay in my little bubble and, in this little bubble of clarity that I've worked on to make clear, or should I kind of venture out and, acknowledge that, like, when it comes to directly interacting with the world, like with the world farther away from me, that like there is some things I need to learn, or maybe this is a way for you to kind of think about, maybe I should be a little bit more open-minded, or, oh, these are new ideas. Should I go ahead and explore those ideas? Stuff like that. Now, Jupiter is going to be transiting through your 6th house, and the 6th house is the house of like routine. I think of health, I think of habits, your daily grind in the world, like your daily way of handling your existence. And Jupiter is squared to, both the full moon and then the transiting sun in your 3rd, and Mars and then Neptune. And with that, mitigating between whether you should kind of, be more open to the outside world versus the world that you started off with, like, this struggle in particular is going to really affect the opportunities you're going to be getting in terms of like what's going on in your 6th house. So when I think of Jupiter transiting the 6th house, I think of opportunities in terms of like maybe starting a new lifestyle, or maybe implementing new habits, or maybe when I think of like the 6th house, I also think of the work environment. So like, work opportunities. Like, as of right now, I feel like as if both of your feet are planted in, one foot is planted in your 3rd house, which is like, the world that you've always known, the world that you started off with. And then the other foot is stuck in your 9th house, which is like kind of like the world that's kind of farther away, or like, the world that you did not start off with, or the world that is completely different from the world that you started off with. And both of your feet are planted in it, and then because both of your feet are kind of planted in these two places, I feel like with Jupiter in the 6th house, it's kind of sitting here like, I don't know what kind of world you want to live in, and because I don't know what kind of world or mindset that you want to participate in, I don't know what kind of opportunities to give you. So you're kind of sitting here like, I don't know if I should listen to the people that I've known all my life, or maybe these new really cool people that I've, seen like in college maybe, or my professors, or like these, otherworldly like ideas. But like, you're kind of sitting here like, I don't really know where to go. And because of that, how you kind of implement your daily life and your habits and all of that, those are being affected. And due to that, I do feel like, with your opportunities in terms of like your health and your lifestyle, it's kind of like, we don't know where to go. We don't know how you're going to apply such opportunities. So we don't really know if these opportunities are a good thing or not. So we're just kind of like, it's a lot of like shrugging. So, yeah, Cancer, you're kind of like, the sign of like home and like groundedness and just being comfortable in your safe space. And as of right now, you're like in lukewarm water right now. So yeah, it's kind of tough. So here are the cards that I got for you. Oh, interesting. Okay, so here are your cards. I got the Wheel of Fortune. I got the Fool in reversed. And I got the Ace of Coins. So, looking at this, Cancer, I think you're gonna do well. I'm just gonna say that off the bat. And but there is something in the way, and I do want to let you know what that is. So we'll get into that. Cancer, whatever you choose, like, maybe you're kind of stuck in a way where you're kind of like, a lot of these people really know how to really, influence my life. Maybe you've been getting a lot of good advice from people who contradict each other. So maybe a lot of good advice from people who would, in theory, like, not mesh well with each other, and because of that, you're kind of like conflicted. And Cancer, I think, the first thing I gotta tell you is that maybe you should probably trust yourself a bit more, and maybe trust in your decision making, just because, maybe you've been getting a lot of good life advice, and like from contradicting parties, and because of that, you're kind of like, I don't know where to go. And I think with the Wheel of Fortune, I think with whatever, advice that you choose, like the fact that you're contemplating so hard about this kind of shows that, like, I think you're going to be just fine. Because, I mean, you see the value in all the insight that you've been getting from these people, and you've been taking, meaning into it, and you've been, really, like, taking it seriously. And because of that, you're not gonna like, ignore it or like downplay it or brush it off. Like, it's just good stuff for you. And I think with the Wheel of Fortune, I think when you do take things seriously, I do think there is some good things popping up for you. And with the Ace of Coins, like, this is a great opportunity for you to really start grounding yourself. Like, I think once you really choose what advice to take and what insights to not really take and really implement that into your everyday life, you're gonna be very grounded, and it's gonna be really, really, really nice. So yeah, Ace of Coins. However, there is one thing that is stopping you, and I think, Cancer, I think what you're really scared of is, you're really scared of making the dumb decision. You're really scared of doing something too impulsively. You're holding yourself back. You don't want to be stupid. You don't want to make the wrong decision and screw everything over. And you want to really think things through. And I want to say good job, because like, you have taken the time to think things out, but you've thought long and hard enough. Like, don't stress yourself out anymore with your thoughts. I think with the Fool reversed, I think, holding yourself back, you're literally just holding yourself back. And I think now is a really good time for you to kind of make a decision on like what kind of life that you want to live. For some reason, like, I keep on getting like this weird like, vibe that like you're getting a lot of good advice, you just don't know where to go. But like, you should be confident in your judgment, because whatever you do choose, it will be good. Because you know yourself best. People don't know you as well as you know you. And that's especially true if you are a Cancer. And I think by having that self-trust and knowledge within yourself, I think you're going to do just fine, Cancer. So, yeah, Cancer, you guys have a great full moon.